Steve, he's absent. It looks like we're playing musical chairs here. Steve and Mike filled in for me last week. I was up in North Carolina calling on some accounts to see where you guys out there will be able to make sure that you can go to your local retail store and find all of Portland Outdoors products. Top Secret, Red Light District, BioShield, Fog Zero, and also Scent Defense. So look, tonight it is May 21st. It is crazy how quick the year is getting past us. Man, we're already people talking about planting food plots or getting ready for food plots. Just in a couple of days, it's going to be June. And so it is, though we're still in the springtime and going into the early part of summer, or even though we're still in the recovery period, we're well into it, and we're going to talk about that tonight. Hey, get on the phone, call your friends, tell them it is Hunting the Rut Hotline time, and tell them to call in. You can still call in, and you can see the numbers there to be able to call in, and you can Facebook us in. And folks, we appreciate all the calls and the Facebooks that you do, and then even the emails that you're doing even during the week. So we try to not only talk to you during the week, we also try to talk to you here live each Thursday night on Hunting the Rut Hotline. Hey, stay tuned. We'll be back and we'll take your questions.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Esters, the finest doe esters ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 1/10% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 1/10% club.
All right, folks, we're back. It is May 21st, so hey, be sure that you get on the phone, call your friends, and we're just tickled to death with the new people that calls in each week. And listen, we encourage you. If for some reason you can't call on Thursday nights live, you certainly can send us emails during the day, 5 days a week, for that matter, 7 days a week. But we talk to people every day, even on the phone during regular business hours, and sometimes you catch us down here after business hours. But this show is built for you. It increases as we go along, and of course as we get closer to the season, it really starts to spike, because we hunters, we're geared thinking that the fall is the time to think about hunting a white-tailed deer. But actually, in reality, as we've talked about this show is centered around the simplicity of hunting the rut and understanding the year in the life of a white-tailed deer. So to understand what a buck's going to be doing in August, September, October, at the beginning of the season, anywhere in the country, a lot of it's being determined what they're doing now, where they at, who they're running with, what they're doing, what area. And so a lot of you guys out there right now, you know, it's spring and you are planting. You're planting a spring cover crop. You're trying to hold the deer in. You're putting mineral supplements out there to kind of hold them in. And what a lot of guys do, they do it almost out of necessity. And what I mean by that is their motive is true, but what they're trying to do, you hear a lot of hunters, and you guys, when I say this, you'll hear conversations, and hey, you may be one of them that is saying it, is that I've got a piece of property over here, and they're planting food plots, and they're doing a big management program, and I'm having a hard time keeping my deer on my 100 acres or my 10 acres or my 5,000 acres. And so in order to do that, you got to hold the deer where they are on your property unless you're a transition. They're going from one piece to another, going through your property. So sometimes it's just a flat impossible to hold a deer or a given deer in a certain area. Give you an example. Like right now, this is May 21st. We have a local contractor here that does work for us, and a big deer hunter, and he does work for a farmer that's in South Alabama. And in the process of doing that, they're getting ready to plant. Well, as it is everywhere else, but it's really bad down here in the southeast, as farmers plant, because we have so many deer, just as that corn comes up, just as those soybeans comes up, just as that crop comes up out of the ground, those deer, there's so many deer that literally you can go, as you see it today, come tomorrow morning and you literally can see, it looks like a bush hog went through there and they just grazed it down. You can see where they go. So they give, as in the north, they give out permits to come in and take these deer out. This particular farmer needs to take 80 deer off of his property to be able to let his crop at least get up out of the ground. And the reason they're grazing it is because it's young and it's tender and they're wanting that young stuff. That's a lot of times the reason why you see a lot of times where if you're around a logging community where they're logging and landing, that when all the chainsaws quit and the trucks leave, deer will come in. And the reason they're coming into it, they're coming into that fresh browse, that young browse that's been cut down where the tree's going down, and they want to get to it. So this time of year, while we're wanting to hold them, it's almost an oxymoron in that there's a lot of farmers that wants to keep them out. So you can hold them, and you can do it with a supplement, and now's the time to do that. And we can talk, and some of the questions that we'll have tonight will relate to which supplement, do I put out, which food plot, what do I plant? I live in the Midwest, I live in the Southeast, I live in Alabama, I live in Tennessee. What do I use? We'll talk about that. That will vary from different parts of the country. And a great source for that is not only your local sporting goods store, but your local co-op store. Go to them and tell them, and a lot of times they will have a special blended for that area. And there is some truth to that. So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to be able to take some Facebook, and we're going to try to work through some of these tonight, and also take the callers. Hey folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
Alrighty folks, we're back, and listen, we want to remind everyone, guys, listen, if you have a question on hunting the rut and you don't have time to call, you can always Facebook that into us. You can email those questions into us 7 days a week, and certainly we'd love to talk to you live. Try to find time. As you can tell, this is not a high-tech show. We have the commercials. We're proud to have all these commercials on the Outdoor Channel, Sportsman's Channel, and the Pursuit Channel. It is an unbelievable amount of commercials that we're putting out there on Top Secret and on these brands. Having said that, this is a different format. This show is all about you, so if you haven't got time to do it right now, put it on your calendar. Give us a buzz. You can call us going down the road. We had a guy last fall, I think he called out of a tree stand. I mean, you literally can do it. We don't recommend it, but you certainly can do that. So we're going to try to take some, this is a website question rather than Facebook. Tammy writes in, you see how I did that, guys, Tammy? Steve's not here with the big words. Tammy calls in from Hopewell Junction, New York. And she's asking, and that's today, guys, that website question come in today, right? Is BioShield spray safe for children's skin? And Tammy and everyone else, the answer to that is 100% yes. BioShield, what BioShield is, this right here, and Tammy, I hope and everybody can see this. This, guys, I'm okay in there. This is 100% natural. If you were to go and, if you were to Google this and just look at the remarks, you'll see some of the remarks that we're throwing up tonight. We are having just phenomenal success with this stuff. People love it. And one of the reasons they love it, Tammy, is that it's 100% safe. You literally can take this, and when you spray it on you, you see it as it first comes out like it is. You see it on my hand there? This is like it is an essential oil. You literally, guys, can you see that on my hand in there? All right, now watch this, guys, as you're watching this. And Tammy, if you're watching, all you got to do, this you can just spray on. But I put it in one spot where you could see it. No more than I just did there. It is not like a suntan lotion. is not like a lotion, it is an oil. And as I sit here, you'll be able to, very pleasant smell, but it's going to completely soak into my skin. It'll literally recondition the skin because it's an essential oil base. So in just a second, you won't even be able to know that was on there. So no more of having spray. First of all, you don't have to use the DEEP. Tammy, if you look at these sprays, in fact, Chris in here, Chris, wasn't it this past weekend you guys went out, one of you had ours, one of you had DEET, and they got suntan, got a burn, and old boy sprayed the DEET on the sunburn. That lit him up like a firecracker, didn't it, Chris? So if you look at the labels, it plainly tells you that it's DEET, and it says don't put it on your clothing, don't put it directly on you. Well, where else do you put it? DEET is effective. It is effective in repelling the mosquitoes and the ticks. However, you pay a price for doing that. This is 100% natural. If you look at this, Tammy, you can take this. In fact, I went outside the office today. I know it's going to sound crazy because I wanted to show this live. And we'll try to do this, and we'll try to do it in the next couple of weeks. But I went out today and I took a pillowcase and I walked around the building out in the grass trying to find a tick. Because we could go live and I could put a tick here and you watch the camera, watch him move around, and I can spray him and you watch him die. 100% natural though. Now already, if I were to get up to the camera here, you guys, you can't hardly, can you see my hand there? There is absolutely no shiny or oil on that at all. It's already soaked in, so you're not having to fight the oiliness of a lotion. So Miss Tammy, the answer to that is yes, it's 100% natural, it lasts up to 8 hours. And Tammy, don't only forget about the spray, but we have, for the first time, we also have a body wash and shampoo. So Miss Tammy, you actually can bathe the children in this, take a bath, send them out to play. Makes sense, don't it? You're already taking a bath. Here's a product, it's 100% natural, and it is a system. They can take a bath, but doesn't it also, you wash your clothes, don't you, Miss Tammy? We also have a laundry detergent. So you can wash the family's clothes, you're already washing them, and protect the family from ticks, mosquitoes, fleas, bed bugs, great for the sheets for bed bugs, and only we have that. We also have it in a body wash and shampoo and the 8-ounce spray. Miss Tammy, the answer to your question, and the short answer is yes, it is 100% natural. You'll love it. Smells good, and once you put it on, you're not oily at all. So yes, ma'am, absolutely 100% safe for children. And we get a lot of questions in, can we use it on our animals? And the short answer to that is, it is 100% safe. You can. We don't put it on the label. We're not saying do it, but we've got guys do it, and we got 2 sitting here. And Tom, were you serious when you said you washed the dog? Mike, who was on last week, which is Steve's brother, he did not have any of this, Miss Tammy. He was out of that. He had this, and he washed his golden retriever with this. What kind of dog you got? He's got a German Shepherd, and he was telling, I thought he was kidding me. Tom, the director, washed his German Shepherd with the detergent. I wouldn't necessarily recommend to do it. It won't hurt them because it's 100% natural. Will not hurt a child. This formula, guys, you know what's amazing about this show is we have the ability to tell who's calling in, you know, what state you're calling from, and all. Hey Tom, what's the right word that we use when we can do all the track it and stuff? Analytics. Thank you very much. We do all the analytics, and for instance, we can tell how many people check out the word BioShield or Nurex or octopamine. And what I mean by octopamine is that what this stuff does, guys, you see it on the screen. There's some of the guys on Facebook commenting on it. What this does is it shuts down the neurological system of a biting insect. Ticks, mosquitoes, fleas, they all produce what's called octopamine. And basically what this does, this instantly shuts the neurological signal between that, and it shuts them down and it kills them. So not only does it repel, it kills. And it's 100% safe. And the reason that it's safe is that only an insect produces the compound octopamine. Dogs don't, cats don't, birds don't, humans don't. Mammals don't. Only insects produces this, and this shuts it down 100% natural. And we have it in spray, we have it in body wash and shampoo, and we have it in laundry detergent. Folks, it has got great reviews. You need to get you some. No reason to worry about if you're running around and go playing in the grass, whether or not they're bringing in ticks, whether or not they're bringing in fleas into the house. You know, nothing worse than finding a tick on you, and then you think they're everywhere, right? You feel like they're crawling everywhere. Well, you can look, but now imagine going in and taking a shower that night with the laundry detergent, with the body wash and shampoo. Then you don't have to worry about, because if there's one on you, it's going to take him off. 100% natural, 100% safe. So, yes, ma'am. Let's take another Facebook. We got time? All right. We got Miss Tiffany from Bozeman, Montana. And Tammy was from New York, and now we got Tiffany from Montana. Can deer smell the difference between human urine and their own? And the answer to that is yes, and I'm gonna give a little nuance to that. The answer is that is yes. They can tell the difference between a human urine, a deer urine. They can tell the difference between a human urine and a predator's urine, a coyote's urine, or a mountain lion's urine. Certainly they can. That's the reason why they can tell the nuances. Now, but I think what Tiffany's really asking, I think, and Tiffany, don't let me put words in your mouth, but I think what you're saying is, can human urine spook a deer? And the answer to that is yes, sometimes no. Let me give you an example. Deer, white-tailed deer, or the deer family, but certainly white-tailed deer being probably the most skittish of the deer family, has three defenses: ears, eyes, nose. The most important is the nose. So the whole reason an animal urinates, urinates in voids, is a communication system. So obviously, as we've said so many times, the reason Top Secret is so powerful is that this has never seen oxygen. Oxygen ammoniates urine. So when you go to the store, Miss Tiffany, and you buy a deer scent that's dark, that is an ammoniated urine. That says that an animal was there, but the deer's not there now. So think about that a second. So if you had a choice between clear urine, Top Secret's clear urine, that's single urine, no oxygen. First time it sees oxygen is when you open it. So when you pour this out, that says a deer's there right now, because it's the first time it hit oxygen. If I poured out this and it was dark, and I poured it out, then it's already ammoniated, then it says that the deer was there, but he's not there now. Now, which one had you rather go sit up in a cold day in the wind and the rain trying to kill a deer? Which one would you want to put out? One that says you were there, or one that says you're there while you're there? Well, common sense says you want to put it out while you're there. So the answer is yes, they can do it, but there is a nuance. And here's the nuance. A deer doesn't necessarily always spook off of human urine. If they've never come across it, they're not going to spook on it, as a general rule. And the reason for it is, if they haven't had any negative feedback from that urine, they're not going to see it. They're not going to be scared of it. But let them have danger or have a bad reaction to that with you in the tree and they smell it, then they can associate danger to the smell. That's the reason why I give you a perfect example of that is you're going along and somebody uses coyote urine. You watch a deer come across a coyote's urine and watch what he does. Most of the time they'll deal and will. Why? They've already, plenty times in their life, they've came across that predator and they recognize the smell of the predator. I think we mentioned it one time before on the show years ago. And some people still use this. They will use skunk essence as a cover scent. Now, if you just really wanted to get hardcore and think about that, what would possess a human being to put skunk on them? Well, the person that uses that typically is someone who smokes. So they're thinking, what they're thinking is that they're masking that human smell and they're masking the smoke smell. But notice what you're doing. A skunk only sprays when they're alarmed, right? A skunk doesn't go through the woods just kind of whistling along and then sprays. They only spray when they're alarmed, when they're spooked. So you're going through the wood, buck's going through the woods, or a doe, or fawn for that matter, and they smell a skunk. They're not thinking, ooh, stink, they're thinking, ooh, predator, because they know that. So that puts something, you've already got a buck that's skittish, he's already wired, now you got a buck that's thinking predator. Now, he's not thinking man in a tree smoking, trying to hide his scent, he's thinking predator on the ground. Now he's super paranoid and he's wanting to get out of the way, or he's super sensitive. So what you've done is you've made a animal that is already super sensitive really keyed up because he's thinking predator. So yes, ma'am, sometimes, Miss Tiffany, that it will affect them, sometimes it won't. My rule of thumb is don't risk it. I mean, you know, why risk it? We got to think like a predator. And that's what this show's about, is hunting the rut. Now think about it. We're talking about whitetail, what deer are doing May 21st. We talk about what deer are doing 52 weeks a year. Because deer are doing what they're doing, getting ready to live. They don't all of a sudden just live because it's hunting season. They just didn't all of a sudden appear on your property because it's open day of bow season. And listen, think about this, guys. When you get up in a tree, this is an oversimplification, but when you get up in a tree, we're just out there to have a good time trying to kill a deer. No, we're having a good time trying to kill a deer. They're living. They're at survival. And they've been all these years growing and understanding how to survive, and that's just another day for them. So to us, we're trying to do it. They're trying to stay alive, and they're serious with it. And so we have to think how they think as a predator to be able to go get them and understand when and where and why and what they're doing. Tom and I today was talking about chess. Hunting is a lot like chess. You got to know what deer are doing to be able to do it. Much of you guys at bow hunt, you just can't pull on a deer. You got to know when to pull the bow in order to get the shot, or you're going to send the deer through the woods. So big difference. Okay. Can I take a couple more real quick? All right, we got another website question. Clay Smitherman from Pelham, Alabama. Clay, if you any chance you're watching the show tonight and you get this, give us a call. I want to know if you kin to the Smithermans in Selma, Alabama. The Smitherman name goes way back in Selma, very historical. One of the great historical homes in Selma is the Smitherman home. But Clay wants to know, I bought a 26-ounce bottle last year. We're talking about reserve. That means old Clay right there is a club member. And guys, you'll see a commercial here. If you haven't already bought your bottle reserve, you need to reserve it. It's first come, first serve. We're on the tail end of open enrollment on this. So if you want your bottle reserved, you'll see a button below. You'll see commercials. You can hit that button. It'll take you to a website. And you can order your bottle tonight and pay for it one time as you're sitting on the screen, or you can call tonight or hit the website and you can actually pay for it over 4 months. But say, hey, Don, ship it to us and ship it to me in November, December, January, whenever you want it. You can pay for it now. We hold it. We'll ship it to you whenever you want it. Pay for it one time, or you can pay for it over 4 payments. You just choose. But hey, be like Clay and get you a bottle. Clay asked, I bought a 26-ounce bottle last season, and he said he killed a great 8-point while using the reserve. Now, one of the questions that we saw earlier, they're going to ask a little bit. I think it was, I don't know if it was a Facebook question or website, was, does this stuff, how many people uses reserve, how many deer do they kill? Well, most of these people aren't going to tell you all the deer they're killing with it, let alone where they're killing them at. But Clay said he killed a good 8-point while using reserve. So he's asking, with that said, that he said he had about a half a bottle remaining. And what he said he did is, he said, I vacuumed the seal and provided the pump, and he stored it off, pumped it all out, and he stored it in the refrigerator out in the garage. He said he never broke the seal, which is very important, Clay. You want to periodically pump it out, keep it cool. You don't have to put it in the refrigerator, but you just don't want to leave it out in the garage. You want to try to keep it in room temperature, but you just don't put it outside or leave it in the truck. He wants to know, is the product still good for this coming season? And he's, by the way, he says, thanks, great product. And it is a great product. And it is a limited product. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, hey, we started in January telling you about it's time to get it. And so it's going along, and as we go along, it gets less and less product. So it is strictly on a first come, first serve. So please don't get mad at us come season if you can't get reserved. The only place to get reserved in 2015 is on the website. It will not be available at retail for 2015 unless some dealer somewhere has a bottle, and a lot of those guys are keeping it for their personal use. So he's wanting to know, is the product good for next year? And the answer, Clay, is yes, it is. It should be fine. Because what happens is, and what Clay's asking is, once he opens this is like a filling station, guys. You can order the bottle, or you can do a combo, and you get the combo, you get the bottle and the Scent Saver system, which entails the bottle, the plug, and the pump. And so what you do, so let's go hunting. So what Clay did, Clay opened the bottle, and this is a filling station. That's the way you want to look at it. It's a filling station. And this is your car or your truck. So let's go hunting. We're going to open this up. It's got what's called a T-cork in it. Pretty standard in the wine industry, but don't get it mixed up. Of course, you won't have to once you pop the cap. Once you open it, you can throw that cork away, because this comes with a vacuum plug like this. So you're going to open this up, and you're going to fill your bottle up. Okay, this is your truck. So you're going to take the pump. This is your filling station. You're going to open it. You're going to fill your car up. You're going to plug it. You're going to vacuum the big bottle out. And then you've plugged your little bottle, so you vacuum this one out. And as you vacuum it out, 2 or 3 times, you can't over pump it, because listen what happened to it. You guys hear it in there. You'll hear almost a metallic sound. That means that it is already maxed out. So you can't over pump, but listen to the difference. There's no oxygen in this bottle. Listen to this. Big difference. So if you pour it in here and you don't pump it out, you've left oxygen in it. All right. If you pour out of the big bottle and you don't vacuum it, then you're going to put oxygen in it. So when you cap it, there's oxygen in it. That oxygen is going to ammonionate this urine. So what Clay said was, notice what he said. He said he pumped it out, he kept it cool, and periodically he'd go back and just pump it out. And that's okay. It keeps no oxygen in it. It can't turn unless it has oxygen. Oxygen ammoniates urine. Okay? It's a simple fact. Oxygen ammoniates urine. No oxygen, no ammonionation. And so that is what's different about Top Secret. Now then, you can get ready to go hunting. When you, in between, you get ready to, let me pump it back up. Hear it click. Now then, guys, can you see the little nipple on the top in there? So let's go hunting. It's tomorrow morning. We're in the woods. You don't want to go in the woods and get ready and do this, because you're going to let deer know you're in the woods. So what you want to do, it's pumped out. You can do it tonight, tomorrow morning. That's ready to go. It'll sit there until you open it. No oxygen. So you're in the woods, the nipple, just push it or pull it. Can you hear that? That releases it. Now you can open the top without it popping. You use it like you would any other urine. The difference is, when you get through pouring out what you're doing to the stand, you plug it, you pull your little pump out. See how little it is? You just pull that bad boy out, stand there, 2, 3 pumps, no oxygen. Listen, just like you never opened it. So now, it would make absolutely no sense whatsoever to buy that $100 bottle of deer urine. Guys, did I say it was $100? It's a $100 bottle of deer urine. It's 26 ounces. It comes to like $2 and something an ounce. It's very inexpensive. This is the best urine the hunting industry's ever seen. I've been doing this for nearly 30 years, and I have bottled millions of bottles of deer urine. This is from a 3-4 year old mature doe, and what this is, we literally in process urine, we pulled the old boy off of her, okay? Big difference. So guys, get you some clay to answer your question. It is perfectly fine. You've done it perfect. When you open it this year, it should be fine. Get it, keep it pumped out. Don't wait and miss it. Get yours like Clay did. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to take a few calls and try to catch up on some other stuff. Stay tuned, be right back.
Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes top secret reserve doe estrus, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 0.1% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 0.1% club.
Alrighty, folks. Hey, did you see that commercial right there? And you see the 0.1% to 1% logo. Look, not only do we have, you see the logo up in the screen there. When you buy a bottle reserve, what that commercial just said, like Clay, not only do you get the bottle for this coming season, but you get to do several things. You got a bunch of perks. You get to be part of new product development. We got some stuff coming out for 16. You get to be, you have a chance, you have your own Facebook page. And this bottle here, what it does, once you buy it, no one can ever take that bottle away from you. And what I mean, old Clay, he's got that bottle, he's a club member. All these club members that joined today, when they join, literally, Clay's got that bottle, his bottle, so as long as he's a club member. No one can ever take it away from him. The only way that he can lose that bottle is not to enroll into the club next year. There's no charge to be in the club. The only way you can't buy into the club, the only way you can be a club member is to go to bottle reserve. It's like buying season tickets at the University of Alabama, and you want on the 50-yard line, there's your season ticket. You give it up, old John or Bill or Bob or somebody else is going to be sitting on that 50-yard line, and we're going to get to be watching the football game at home. So don't watch a football game at home. Get your 50-yard line ticket. There it is, and you can get it tonight. Okay. So guys, first come, first serve on that. I believe we got a caller coming in. All righty, let's see here. All righty, you got Don Bell. Who we got?
Brian Fredo.
Big Brian. Brian, where you from?
Grapevine, Texas.
Grapevine. Are you from there originally?
No, originally upstate New York.
I didn't think I heard no Texan accent in that. What part of upstate New York?
Schoharie County.
In the up around Tioga County? Are you in the northwest?
Little southwest of Albany.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. Well, Texas is a great place to live, and I think Grapevine, that's northeast of Dallas.
Yep, about 20 minutes. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, man, glad to have you on tonight. Are you a first-time caller?
Yes, I am.
Well, no, we're glad to have you. What kind of question you got?
Okay. The question was, I asked you earlier there, it was pertaining to do with sitting hunt. Wondering if the best time was early in the morning or later in the morning when everybody that was sitting in the morning is leaving.
I tell you, Brian, that is a lot of people ask that question. We do seminars literally all over the country. And by the way, Brian, and everybody listening, in the next, the first part of middle of June, we'll start posting on the air each week all the cities and the states that we're doing seminars in. So we literally come and do a Hunting the Rut seminar, and it's free to attend them. But so Brian, we get a lot of questions on that. You know, is it better to hunt morning or afternoon? It really depends on what, if you're in pre-peak and post-rut, but it also depends on pressure. And exactly, and you hit it on the nail, didn't you, Brian? And that's coming from New York. you got a lot of pressure up there in New York when you're hunting. When you lived in New York, how were you How long did you live in New York? How long did you hunt in New York?
I hunted in New York from the time I was 16 up until just last year.
Yeah,
so probably looking 15, 20, almost 20 years.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about, and everybody up there in the Northeast, in the Midwest too, know that, man, it's when you open the gun season, it looks like a pumpkin patch, unless you're hunting your own personal private property. But even with that, every road's got a vehicle parked on it. People laugh, there's 14 million deer hunters, and they're all over America. And you're just blessed to have a bunch of them upstate New York. But now, having come down from that pressure to Texas, or what kind of property are you hunting in Texas? Is it private property or is it management?
I have a buddy of mine that I don't know the exact name what he called it, but it'd be just like state land.
Yeah. Well,
up in New York, and I also have another friend of mine that has a lease.
Okay. Well, you'll probably find the lease with less pressure on it. But, do you turkey hunt by any chance?
Yes, I turkey hunt too.
You know that if, us turkey hunters, what we like to do, turkey seasons come in and they just can't stand it. They want to go roost the gobbler. And then, of course, a couple days before, they don't want to just roost him. They want to see if they can call him and him answer, which is bad. You don't want to do that. And the reason for that is you're going to get that bird call shy. In other words, you keep calling, you're not there. And so a doe's that way, but a buck certainly is. What happens is when your best chance to kill a buck, a big buck, a mature buck, one that's got some age on him and experience, your best time to kill him is the first time you go in the woods with him. Because every time you go in the woods, you're educating him. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You're putting pressure on him. I mean, common sense says that. So what you want to do is always be that top predator. In your head, you're thinking predator. That's we're the top of the food chain. And so you want to understand ears, eyes, nose. And there is a difference in hunting a deer in Texas. And of course, you're up there. You're probably hunting in the piney woods, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, there's a big difference in hunting that buck in Texas than it is hunting that. Are you bow hunting or gun hunting?
I do both.
Okay. You'll see there's a difference in hunting them in Texas versus New York. There's a big difference if you leave Dallas and go toward Austin and get in the hill country, you're going to see another difference in them versus hunting the same deer in South Texas. Is just the lay of Texas. And so, but the pressure is always a bad thing. But once you know there's pressure, you react to it. Meaning that if you know there's a lot of pressure, people coming in out in the woods in the morning, when do you want to hunt? You want to hunt in the afternoon.
When everybody's leaving.
That's right. And we hunters, a white-tailed buck is a very, very habitual animal. And what I'm about to say, people look at me like I'm crazy. White-tailed deer can be also very lazy animals, and bucks in particular. And what I mean by that is they're very habitual, and they don't want to break that habit. They're going to travel that same trail because they want routine is safety, Brian. So once they have routine, and once there's a problem, they vary off of that, right? So the deer that you've been tracking and seeing on the camera every morning, all of a sudden season's opens in a week, you got people going in the woods every morning different times. All of a sudden you don't see them on the camera. But you may see them in midday. Because what happens is, hunters, we like to hunt at breaking daylight, but about 9, 10 o'clock, man, we're kind of wanting a cup of coffee and something to drink, right? So what happens, people come down out of the stands and they go back to the camp or go to the truck to get something to eat. Then they may lounge around because they don't want to hunt up in the middle of the day, and guess what time they go hunting again? Mid-afternoon, right?
Yep.
Well, if there's traffic during the morning and at mid-afternoon, guess when the bucks are going to start traveling? During the middle of the day. and because they're simply moving around the traffic. Look, tomorrow morning, do you actually live in Dallas?
No, I actually live in Grapevine.
Okay. If you wanted to go through Dallas to go to Fort Worth tomorrow, what's absolutely the worst time you can go to Fort Worth? What time do you not want to go through Dallas to get to Fort Worth?
Probably between 7 and 9.
There you are. You just answered your own question on the buck.
Yep.
You know that's a bad time to go. So what do? You wait for the rush hour's over and you snake your way through. Buck's the same way. The only difference is they haven't had any pressure, and all of a sudden they're building an interstate through their living room. So what they do is they lay down and move, and then they start patterning you to move in and around you. And once we know that, as a predator, use that to your advantage, because you know that if they're moving here, that's pushing them to go here. So really and truly, your question is your answer. And it's a very common question, but really and truly, it's kind of a simple answer. It took a long way to answer it, but it's a simple process. If you got a lot of pressure and a lot of activity, hunt opposite of that activity. So, have you hunted in Texas yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. The guy that you're going to hunt with on the private property, you probably won't have near the problem with that. But now the public land, you'll have more pressure, but you won't have near the pressure that you had in New York. Texas is a big place. Texas is a big place. But now, having said that, Pennsylvania's got, for years it was about 1,000,001 in hunters. Texas pushes 1,000,000 hunters, but there's a little more territory to spread them 1,000,000 hunters out. Does that make sense? And let me tell you something else, and I'll let you go. You're used to using in New York deer scent.
Yeah.
Do you use any?
Oh yeah,
right.
Straits and
Yep.
a little bit of everything.
Are you familiar with Top Secret?
I've never even seen it on the market yet.
Oh, really? Oh, well, look, you can get Top Secret at all your national accounts. Your Cabela's will have it this year. So any of those places your local sporting goods store should have it. Top Secret,
Right.
I don't know if you can see the screen. Are you able to see the screen where you're sitting?
No.
Okay, you'll be able to see this after the show. I'm holding a 3-ounce bottle of estrus up. Are you familiar with Code Blue?
Code Blue. I've heard of it.
Code Blue deer scent?
Yep.
All right, I started Code Blue. You familiar with Tinks?
Thanks. Yep.
Yep, I bottled Tinks for years before I started Code Blue. We've been doing this nearly 30 years. The difference between Top Secret and everybody else is Top Secret is single urine, no oxygen. When you open a bottle of deer urine, Brian, when you go to the local store, no matter where you buy it, when you buy it and you open it up, what color is it?
Brown.
I want you to say that again, because you're right. What color is it?
Brown.
Brown.
Yep.
Listen, every person that we've asked that question to since last August, since we started this show, every week, we've yet to get a person to say any other color than brown. You know why it's brown? It's because it's ammoniated. Brian, urine, when a deer urinates, deer communicates with urine, right?
Yep.
So when you open a bottle of urine and it's brown, it's ammoniated. Oxygen ammoniates urine. So if it's brown urine, it's ammoniated. It says a deer was there, but he's not there now. He was there a long time ago. Top Secret is 3 ounces, and I'm holding it up. It looks like a hot sauce bottle. It looks like a Louisiana hot sauce bottle. You can get it at any of your national retailers. You can get it at your local sporting goods store. Do you watch any of the outdoor channels, Sportsman's Channel, Pursuit Channel?
Yeah, when I'm not working, I try to watch as many as I can.
This year in 15, we'll have 21,537 spots. You won't be able to turn on a TV without seeing Top Secret. Top Secret is oxygen free. So the first time this bottle's, and it's a clear yellow. That's very important because the first time you open it, it's the first time it sees oxygen. And so when you pour it out, it's the first time it sees oxygen. So when a deer smells it, it says a deer's there now, not a deer was there. The people in the control room, they get to hear this all the time, but when you're talking to somebody for the first time, you really need to know this. Take you a clear jar, and I want you to urinate in it. And when you urinate in it tomorrow morning, and listen, Brian, do this, I'm serious. It will change the way you hunt if you listen to what I'm saying to you. It's a simple process. If you take your urine tomorrow morning, urinate, and everybody listen, do this, and put it in a jar, it should be a clear yellow. All right? Urine voided is sterile. That's the reason you see these nuts on TV, survival guys, they drink the urine. It's sterile when it's voided out of an animal. Once it hits oxygen, it starts ammoniating, it starts breaking down. The longer it hits oxygen, the darker it becomes. It has a real ammonia smell. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So tomorrow morning, when you get ready to go to work, get you a jar, urinate in it, set it down, go to work. If you could watch that urine in the course of the day, you're going to see it start changing color and smell. The only variable to it is oxygen. Now then, if you're going to hunt in New York or Texas, and you're going to sit up there in that cold winter day in the rain or in the snow, which would you rather do? Put urine out that says a deer was there, he's not there now, he was there. Or put urine out that's a clear yellow that says he's there while you're there. There's the difference. And so it's a very simple process, but it's changing the scent industry. It's called Top Secret. And in fact, you can hit that button as you go to the show. You can go to topsecretdeerscent.com and you can see it, or you go to your local sporting goods store and get you some. But hey, it'll change the way you hunt. Oxygen free from collection to the bottle. And you'll see a big difference in it. Well, look, Brian, we appreciate you calling in, and tell your friends about the show. How did you find out about the show?
Somebody invited me to like you there on Facebook.
There you go.
Followed you since.
Well, mighty fine. We appreciate it, and tell all your friends to call in. And each week we're getting closer to season, and it's a pretty neat deal. This is a format, as you can tell. We're talking directly to you. You and I are talking, and everybody's listening in on it. And so, pretty neat, and people seem to like it real well. So, tell all your friends about it, and we appreciate you calling. Call in again.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Man, Brian, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you, sir.
Have a good night.
You bet. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll go again. Be right back.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
Alrighty, folks. Hey, look, I'm sitting here and I'm watching the commercials as you're watching them, and we helped put those commercials together, and I'm still amazed. Look at Fog Zero. All great products, just it fixes something. I mean, think about it. All great patents or inventions, it fixes something. Fog Zero fixes something. There's not a person alive that's never pulled a scope up in some situation in your hunting life that you, and some of us a lot of times, that you pull a rifle up and you throw that scope up and that bad boy's fogged. because you got that buck coming in, and all of a sudden you're sitting here like this, and you pull it up because that breath's doing this, and you're just fogging the stew out of that scope. Can't see. And it's a simplistic thing. And listen, Fog Zero retails for $12.95. $12.95, and pretty neat product, and you can get it on the website, or you can get it at your local retailer store. Okay, we're going to try to get a couple more quick Facebook questions in here. Clock says we got about 8 minutes. We will see what we can do with it. Chris is from St. Martinville, Louisiana, and he's wanting to know. Chris is saying, "Hey, I need some help. I need some advice. I hunt in Area 9. He's being very specific now where he's hunting, in Upper St. Martin Parish. The deer here don't go into pre-rut here till about the middle of January. Now, I want to, before I get into that question, I just want to make sure, Chris, I think what you're saying, when you say pre-rut, I think you're talking about just before the peak of the rut, because the rut is broken into 3 periods. Very important to understand this. You have pre, you got peak, and you got post. One of the most misunderstood words in the hunting industry by 14 million deer hunters is the word rut. Most hunters think the rut when the buck's chasing a doe. Chris, I think that's what you're talking about. But that's not the rut. When you see a buck chasing a doe, that is not the rut. That is the peak of the rut. Now, a buck, when he sheds velvet, that is pre-rut. Then you have a doe that starts coming in. And a lot of times, Chris, people will see a doe, and you see a doe running a buck running a doe. You say, "Hey, Don, look at that doe. That doe's in what?" Most people, Chris, is going to say she's an estrus, but in reality, she's not. The word estrus means an animal will stand and not run. Chris, I'm sure, like everybody else, like Brian over in Texas, originally from New York, and you're down there in Louisiana, the caller and the Facebook people from me tonight all over the country, we've all seen a female dog that's coming into heat, and you see all the male dogs chasing, we're on Ustream. Now, I'm from South Alabama. We call them a bitch. I ain't trying to be mean. A bitch is a female dog. Or a gyp. Maybe that's a little better way of putting it. You see that gyp running, and you see all these dogs chasing her. You say, well, that dog's coming into heat, or she's in heat. Well, actually, she's not. There's a distinction between coming into estrus and being in estrus. Think about it. How many of you have ever seen a buck chase a doe? There she goes. You say she's an estrus. No, she's not. Think about it. If the reason she's running is because she's coming into it and she don't want to be fooled with. That's the reason she's running. She don't want to be fooled with. That's the reason he's chasing her. Once she comes in full cycle, she's going to stand. The peak of the rut is when that doe is standing. Simply the peak of the rut in every place in America that's got white-tailed deer, every place where you hunt, Chris, there is a time and point in hunting Area 9 in Upper St. Martin Parish in Louisiana that the majority of the does are standing. That is the peak of the rut. Okay, so I just want to clarify and to make sure that I'm understanding that question. So I'm going to assume that you're talking about the peak of the rut, because you're saying the middle of January, deer don't come into the peak of the rut to about the middle of January, which are really truly sort of like Alabama, really the peak of the rut in Alabama is probably the last few weeks, probably the last third, fourth week in January, or maybe even the first, second week in February. I'm not stretching it. We're in the middle southern half part of the state. So here's your question. Understanding what you're saying is that just before or the peak of the rut, late January in St. Martin Parish, you're wanting to know what type of scent, if any, should you be using. The answer to that is you should be using buck urine and estrus. And Chris, you should have already been using buck urine every day of the season. Doesn't matter if you're bow hunting, doesn't matter if you're gun hunting. Tomorrow morning, and in Area 9, you can go in with buck urine tomorrow morning, May 22nd, and have any buck come to buck urine. And people look at me like I'm crazy. And the reason for it is bucks are in bachelor groups. when season opens in Louisiana, as everywhere else in the country, bucks are still in bachelor groups. And so when you put buck urine out, any buck's going to come to it. Think about it. Any buck's coming to it. They're not coming in because they're mad. They're just coming in to see who the new kid on the block is. Hey guys, can't you remember when we were in high school? And everybody, everybody comes to school or at break or at lunch, everybody stands in the same place. So everybody's coming to school, everybody stands in the same place in your little cliques, and you're standing there, and all of a sudden a new guy drives up, and he's getting out of the car, and everybody recognizes him as a new kid that's coming to school. Now all the girls, they're doing like this, they're wanting to know, ooh, look at this guy. What we're looking at him at is we're not going to run out there and knock him upside the head, but what we're looking at him is going, I wonder if he's in the band or if he's a linebacker. We're trying to put him in a pecking order. So does in the running together looks at a buck one way, bucks look at other bucks different ways. A buck, Chris, is more concerned with bucks 99% of the year than he is with a doe. Primarily, guess when he's concerned with a doe, peak of the rut. So to answer your question is, what type of scent should I use? It should be buck urine every day of the season. Once he starts chasing does, not the peak, once he starts chasing does, you're using buck urine, then you start using estrus with it, and you use them both all the way through the end of season. Buck urine every day of the year. Once he starts chasing does, take the buck. I don't mean pour them together. Use them in conjunction with one another. You can trail one in behind another. You can trail buck behind a doe, and you got a buck chasing a doe. Okay? So big difference there. Buck every day of the year, and use your estrus once he starts chasing a doe. I hope that answers your question. If not, give us a buzz. We'd love to talk to you online. Call us live. You can call us each week, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. We got time for one more quick one? All right. Now, let's say, back up a second. Where was Chris from? Louisiana. John is calling in from Salt Lake City, Utah. I mean, we had you can't make us up. We had a contractor here today, and we didn't know, and he hunts. We didn't know that, but he hunts, and so he got to talk to us. He said, man, I watch a show. He said, man, it's amazing. These people calling in from everywhere. He said, man, they call in from all over the country. And it's true, because we all as hunters need a place to come to validate questions and concerns. We all together trying to understand what makes a white-tailed deer, especially a buck, click. What makes him do what he does at that given time of the year. That's what this show's about. So we got one more quick one. It's from John Whitman from Salt Lake City, Utah. How do you tell the difference between a buck snort versus a doe snort? Now, there's a nuance there, and and you see me pausing because I don't know that I've ever had the question asked comparing or really calling a doe a snort. Now you got a doe that a bleat, you got a estrus bleat, you got a fawn distress call. And you got a buck that will snort, or a buck that'll snort wheeze. If you hear a buck snort followed by a wheezing sound, that's the most aggressive sound a whitetail buck will make. And a lot of guys, they'll be grunting or rattling. And listen, Brian, if you're still listening in Texas, by all means rattle in Texas, because you'll get to hear what we call a buck snort wheeze. And in Texas, what'll happen is you'll rattle, and a buck will go downwind. And a lot of times and again, guys, this is the reason you use buck urine. Because when that buck goes downwind, rattling in Texas or rattling anywhere, what he's doing is he's wanting to smell what he's hearing. He gets downwind, and if he's not smelling buck urine, his nose overrides his ears, and then you say that rattling and grunting doesn't work. Use buck urine. But what'll happen is that buck will go downwind, especially if he's a dominant buck, or a lot of times, and let me clarify what I'm about to tell you, a lot of times it is just a little less dominant buck that will do a grunt, snort, wheeze, because it's it is a challenge. and it's a challenge call. A dominant buck that's a dominant buck, you know, he will do it, but most times he's dominant. He knows he's just going to come in and kick your butt. But you'll hear a grunt, a rapid grunt, and a snort, and then an exhaling of they call it a sneeze, but it's almost a jerky type sound. And if you guys have ever heard it, you'll recognize it. Then that is the most aggressive sound that a buck's doing. What he's doing is he's stopped out there 15, 20, 30 yards, and he's saying, come on. And most of the time he won't come on in. He's telling you, come on. You know, you want a piece of me, come on. So it's important. A lot of times they'll lock up if you don't have that buck urine. You got that buck urine, then you've got that extra call to come in. And especially in Texas where Brian is, you can use a decoy. Use that decoy. Now if he locks up, he's not only smelling and hearing, he can see the decoy. He's put all three defenses together. You got a chance to kill you a good buck. Hey folks, listen, they're telling me it's 5 after. It is Thursday night. We started an hour ago. It goes quick, but fear not. Next week, 7 days from now, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, we're going to do this show all over. It is May 21st, 22nd. It's crazy. We're fixing to get ready to start doing food plots. Season's going to be here before you know it. Tell your friends, tune in next week, and we're going to talk about hunting the rut. Hey, you have questions? We're going to have some answers. Let's talk next Thursday night.